Good morning, Keith Jones.
Good morning, Rick. How you doing?
I'm well. How's the weather in the Bay?
Fantastic, man. You got to get out here. I mean, you're just out here. You're in Santa Barbara, so you know how amazing it is in this side of the globe, right?
Absolutely. It's so beautiful to be by the ocean. Isn't it? Just the sea, there's something magical and so majestic about being near the water. That's wonderful for our human soul.
It is, man. It really is. The title for this podcast is "Find a Happiness or a Joy Coach, and then be one." so, so man, thank you so much. So, I had the pleasure of being around a gathering for a friend who lost his mom, and it was such an honor, and I was humbled to be invited. And one of the things that he shared is that he introduced me to everybody as the happiness coach at Mayo, which is so cool because I mean, I got invited. Like I'm like, this little servant over here in the corner, and he invited me, introduced me to everybody in this is really intimate gathering. And he said that what he realized on this journey of doing the practice, that's what his mom was, who we were honoring that night. She was a happiness coach his whole life. But, he didn't really realize it until most recently when he slowed down and started working on being present in life. It's like she was a happiness coach. And so when I told you the story, you said, let's do a podcast on that. Like find a happiness coach in your life and then be one, by, modeling what they do. And ask them about how they do it. When I reflect on my own life, Rick, I've had some kindness, joy, and happiness coaches in my own life, but I was so identified with what I was doing at that point. And back then I was so achievement oriented that I just thought like they were different. Like, why aren't they taking this thing seriously? Oh, they're taking it seriously. I'm the one who's over here wasting time, squandering the present moment, and what's really important in life. Oh, they're the only ones here taking it seriously. Like they're not being bothered by things outside of their control. Their happiness, they're telling me to let it go. I'm over there like, how can I let it go? All this is just like, okay, carry on, and they carry on. And now, man, I'm so wise to seeing those folks, man. And it's beautiful when I see them and I'm inspired by them, man. I ask them all the time, like, what are you doing to stay this way? And how does it happen? And what is your practice? Like, I want to add that to my practice so that or borrow it, incorporate it in my practice so that I can experience presence and even fuller way, man. It's just beautiful, Rick. So what are your thoughts about finding a happiness coach and then becoming one?
Yeah, I think anybody who meets you finds a happiness coach. I think that it's incredibly easy to emulate other people if you just let go of your opinion about how life should be. If I came to you cold and didn't know who you were and just spent some time with you, my defenses would come down. I would feel like you're not judging me. I would feel like I'm loved for who I am or respected for who I am. And I wouldn't feel like I'd have to put on my mask to keep you from hurting me or keep you from doing damage to my reputation or in some way competing with me. So if we find people who are like that stimulate who we really are instead of having the mask, it's easy to be around them and easy to like them. And then the trick is to understand that the real power in life, the strength of who you are, comes from just letting the mask down and being vulnerable and allowing happiness to normally bubble up, which it will. If you're not trying to control every aspect of your life and how you appear, and you just let the chips fall, good things happen. I think there are many, many people who realize that they have to stop being a mask. They have to stop that in order to experience joy and happiness. So if you're around somebody like you that does that naturally, it's easy to do. And once you get into the habit of it, letting the mask down, being who you are, treating life a little bit more gently than you normally do, the expectations pull back, and you feel more content in the moment being with that person, it's easier then to pay it forward to other people. And I think one of the joys of having you in my life is that very thing. I can't wait to be around you, because
Oh,
the
thank
time you
you, Rick.
spend goes by like that. It just
Thank
boom.
you.
It's, you know, and then you want more of it. And then I find myself enriched after I'm with you for a while. Maybe the next hour or two or day or whatever, I'm light and happy-go-lucky. It's like, you know, my team won the Super Bowl. But
Wow.
what you realize is that you're dealing with what I call a mirror situation. We internalize, we actually become what our stimulus that we look at tells us about ourselves. So if I'm with you and you're reflecting things back to me that make me feel like I'm respected and loved, man, I really open up. If I'm with another set of people who do the opposite, and I am often in court with other lawyers, and basically their job is to bring me down and kill my case, I tighten up. You know, I really try to be defensive and avoid that. Well, with the practice, that opens up, and you realize that the more open you are, the more powerful you are. And that's another podcast. But my point about this is that the mere idea, mirror, not mirror meaning slight, but mirror meaning reflective. The mirror issue that we have with happiness is that the more that we give that way, the more we're around people who are like that, the more of it there is, and the more practiced we become about sharing it with others. So that's a long-winded way of saying, you know, you are a guy that people should be around, and by being around will in turn spread that forward and make other people more happy as well. So
Oh, wow.
congratulations on that fabulous role. And I can't believe that a company like Mayo's, or a for-profit institution like Mayo's, is actually hip to this idea. It's such a wonderful, wonderful notion.
Yeah, Rick, man, I'm fortunate to be there, man. As I just, you know how grateful I am to be there. You know, someone asked me the other day, they said, this was 2 months ago, our friend John DeCuna had these like icebreaker questions. And one of the questions, like, if you could do anything in the world, right, career-wise, what would it be? And I said, I'm doing it. Man, and you know what's interesting about that, Rick?
Yeah.
That was the same answer I would have given when I was volunteering. I was like, I'm doing it, you know. And then the next fast forward, when I'm a contract employee, and they said, hey, you know, if they would ask me the same question, I'm doing it. I'm a contract employee, no benefits. I'm doing it, you know. And then fast forward to that. Oh, Keith, we got to let you go during the pandemic. Is there anything you'd rather do? I'm doing it. I'm volunteering again. You know, so it all became, man, like you said, letting go of those expectations and just saying that I'm going to be happy and joyful no matter what.
That's it.
Period. It's not conditional about what the moment, what's happening in the moment. It's like, I am going to work on removing these self-imposed barriers that my ego wants to put in place that make it impossible to experience joy, happiness, love in that moment. I think that's been the key to me being able to maintain or sustain being happy or being joyful, you know, almost all the time. And when I look at people that are there that do this, like the happiness coaches, and you've certainly been that for me. Tim has been that. This is what they do. You know, Brian Chong, all our friends, man, Dras, you know, they mastered, or they're working on mastering this thing to where when something shows up that is in the way of them experiencing joy and happiness, they work on removing it. You know, they don't allow themselves to be identified with it. And I think that's one of the things that I've really worked on, is understanding that when something shows up, the practices help me identify, oh, that's a potential barrier to me experiencing joy. It's not that, oh, this is showing up and unconsciously I become identified with it. At all times, recognizing that it's a choice, so that I'm running late to an appointment, I can be worked up about it, or I cannot be worked up about it. I'm still running late, but I can choose not to be affected by running late. Like, that's a choice. Still late, you know, I can choose that. And I think that once you're aware of the choice, then you can be happy no matter, or you can be joyful, you can be kind no matter what the situation is. You work at a job to where you don't feel like you're being valued or whatever, you know, or appreciate it. You can choose not to take that on. You're still not being valued or appreciated, but you can choose not to be affected by not being valued and appreciated. You know what I'm saying? Like everything's a choice.
Yeah.
If you make that choice, man, oh man, life is different for you. And so people think, I've heard people may assume that and Keith really has hardly any kind of challenges or problems. No, I'm just choosing not to take on the narrative that my ego will create about the challenge. That's a whole different way of living, man.
That's right. And the bottom line is, where does the value come from? The value comes from you. The value doesn't come from the external. So, so if you're thinking, oh my God, I'm not, this doesn't matter until everybody knows in the world that I'm, a big deal. But if you take a little different view of it and think the value comes from me knowing I did a great job, or knowing that I did everything I could, or knowing that I put my heart into it, and whatever happened, happened. The value is coming from you, not from the external. Always true.
100%. And it's not this like resign that the world is this way or the world is that way. And so I have to, be impervious to what the world does. No, that's closing yourself to the world. You stay open. You just not dependent on the world for anything. People say, I've heard people say like, society has this thing where they like to build you up only to bring you down. Man, no one can build you up and no one can bring you down.
Totally.
There is no
Totally
you
right.
to be brought up or down. You're just here having an experience, whether it's up, whether it's down, this happens, that happens. No, man, when you're rooted in consciousness, it doesn't matter, man. Whether I'm in Hawaii on a Monday or I'm on a summer 120-degree Monday in Phoenix, it's all the same.
We always personally have the power to give the externals whatever importance we want to give them. Most people give the externals 99% of the importance in their lives.
Yes.
The reality is the value comes from where you put it. And you are the guy behind the control panel for the value.
Yes. Yes.
So you can say, Hawaii is wonderful and it should be. 99% of humanity would say yes. Or you could say Newark, under a freeway is terrible, and 99% of humanity would agree with you. But you have that choice. You don't have to choose either way. You could go whatever importance level you want to put on it, you can put on it. And I'm using those extreme examples, but the idea is value is self-imposed. Importance of other things, self-imposed, always a choice.
Exactly. And the choice that you make will easily become the story of your life, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. It becomes the feedback loop.
Yeah. And so when you see somebody out there who's happy all the time, like engage them in a conversation instead of saying like, why are they being happy? Say, teach me how to be happy so I can become that way no matter what shows up. Like show me that way. Like, Rick, thank you for a great show, man.
I love listening to you, man. It's very
likewise. Are you kidding me? Likewise, man.
All right. Well, safe travels back from the Bay Area. It looks like it gets good weather.
It is. It's beautiful. I love you, Rick.
I love you, man. Adios.
Adios.